Welcome back to Tech Tunes 360. I'm your host, Kate Decker, and I just have to say I love my job. Who else gets a live band every day of the week? Oh yeah, that's right, all of us here at Tech Tunes 360. I'd like to welcome our next guest, the extremely talented and just quite frankly a very, very great singer, songwriter, guitar playing musician, Frank Romanelli. How you doing today, Frank?
Hi, Kate. I'm doing well.
You doing well?
You have a great band.
We do have a great band. I know.
Yeah.
Such a
Nice job.
fun job. Fun job.
I can see why.
Could be punching numbers in a calculator,
exactly.
but nope. Listen to the live music. Anyways, just a little curious to start. No, just a little curious. When did you first start playing music? Because that's something we need to know.
I guess you could say I was about 4 years old.
Wow.
I used to sit and learn Italian songs from my aunt's records so that I could sing them to my grandfather. I would do this this hat and cane routine for him. I would call it the Frank Crow Show. And I'd come out in front of him. He would sit in his chair at night after work outside with his little jug of wine. And I would come running out in front of him and I would sing, "Here's the star of the show, Frank Crow." And then I would sing Italian songs to him and he'd clap his hands. And this was our kind of nightly ritual. You know, and then he'd tell me stories from the old country. So it all started there.
The performing bug caught early.
It did.
And the singing.
I even wrote a song about it called Old Man Joe. And it's just about that whole thing that got me started.
Now, when did you start bringing instruments into the mix?
Guitars? Oh, well, I learned my first instrument in 2nd grade. It was accordion. That didn't go well. I wasn't a good lessons person because I kind of had my own idea about how songs should sound. But I eventually picked up the guitar in 4th grade and started playing like in the church group and, you know, like at home. And as I got older, like at parties if people could coerce me to. I was kind of shy about it. And I really didn't start playing out until the end of college.
Okay.
And then I started going solo about 8 or 9 years ago.
Is there anything that brought the change about or made you a little bit more ambitious with performing live?
Well, my roommates used to have a band and they would practice at my house. And I would sit there and be like, oh, I wish I had the guts to do this. And eventually they just sucked me in because I couldn't resist any longer. I wanted to sing with them. They got me to pick up a bass and learn how to play bass well enough to join their band, and it kind of went from there.
Well, so, I'm glad it did.
And then we stopped for a few years, and I was just missing performing so much that I just started going out on my own. Kind of went from there.
It's definitely been working well for you.
Yeah, it has.
Absolutely has been working well for you.
Yeah.
When you're writing your lyrics, is there anything in particular what do you draw from when you write your lyrics?
I've tried to explain this to people. There are some people out there who are really prolific. They can just sit down and write a song. Give them a theme, they'll write a song. Give them a topic, they'll write a song. For me, it's a little different. And I've heard other people say this. It kind of comes to me. And I don't even feel like sometimes I'm writing the song. It's kind of like writing itself through me. It usually happens late at night at the most inconvenient time. It'll keep me up all night, like the night before I have a class or something. And it'll just write itself. And I usually write them very quickly, you know, and then I kind of fine tune them. You know, I'll come up with breaks, and the music just kind of happens with the words at the same time a lot of times. So I don't always know what they're about when I'm writing them. I usually figure that out over time. And sometimes I know exactly what they're about. So it's all different. But it's seldom that I can sit down and say, I'm going to write a song now, if ever. I don't even know if that's ever happened.
Well, from my perception when listening to your music is that every last song tells us some sort of a story. So whether or not you're intentionally creating a story in your music when you're writing them, you said it just kind of happens and comes to you.
Sometimes they're not about me at all.
In general, though, I mean, you tell a fantastic story. You're unlike, you know, some people you tune out the lyrics. Yours, you're tuning in. Job well done. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You've been doing very well touring, and you've been on the West Coast, here on the East Coast, somewhere in the middle. You've hit up, you know, good amount of the United States you've performed in. what advice can you share for young musicians or any, not even young musicians, just musicians in general who'd like to get out there and perform?
Honestly, I spent a lot of time living in LA and playing in LA and learning about the business there, and reading books and talking to people everywhere and here and there, and the business is everywhere. But the number one thing I've learned is play out. Play out. People have to hear your songs, and they have to hear them live. That's the only thing that's going to make it happen. Nothing, you know, there are a lot of, I've met people, really talented musicians who sit around waiting for the record company to come knocking on their door. It just is not going to happen.
Speaking of playing, let's take a listen to your music for anyone in the audience who hasn't heard it, and just to remind us of how good you are.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello again, my special friend. It's good to be with you. It's been so long since we have been apart. I don't know if you're feeling quite the same way as I do. Look into my eyes, you'll see in my heart.
That was some of Look Into Your Eyes off Frank Romanelli's self-titled CD, Frank Romanelli. Frank, again, thank you so much for being here. It's a fantastic interview, and come back anytime. We'd love to have you on the show next time to perform.
All right, thanks.
Tech Tunes 360, everybody. We'll see you next week.